To Pennsylvania now, where Governor Tom Wolf has announced a plan to put the state on a path to recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. Mila Simbulan reports.
Thanks, Thomas. After weeks of social distancing, Governor of Pennsylvania Tom Wolf outlined on how Pennsylvania will emerge from the coronavirus pandemic. During a news conference, he unveiled his plan for reopening and recovery, which he called a framework, but will have more detailed steps in the weeks to follow. Let's watch.
Last night, President Trump laid out guidelines for reopening America. And for weeks, my administration has been at work on a plan to reopen Pennsylvania. And we're going to make sure we have a plan that respects the reality of the situation on the ground and that works with our local, regional, and federal partners. All of us are anxious to reopen the Commonwealth. As a former business owner, I deeply share the concerns of some in the legislature, but we cannot exacerbate the pandemic's damage on Pennsylvanians and their lives. We need to be careful and deliberate. We need the flexibility to react to new outbreaks.
There are 6 key points to his plan. To determine reopenings, approach will be data-driven, evidence-based, and regional. Continuing guidance and recommendations for employers, individuals, and healthcare facilities for assured accountability while reopening. Adequate personal protective equipment and testing are necessary before reopening. A monitoring and surveillance program is required upon reopening that allows the Commonwealth to deploy swift actions for containment if necessary. Protections for vulnerable populations must remain steadfast throughout the reopening process, such as limitations on visitors to congregate, care facilities, and prisons. Limitations on large gatherings unrelated to occupations should remain in place for the duration of the reopening process. During the press release, he is also questioned about President Donald Trump's tweet to liberate Michigan, Minnesota, and Virginia, and what's the impact of his comment on the state. Here's his reply.
Are having on states.
I don't know what impact that has. I think that's up for the people who actually do the protesting. This is a democracy, and this is something we ought to do. Again, I think every single American, I know every single Pennsylvanian is eager to get back to work. We're eager to reopen, and I'm included in that. So we are working, all of us, as hard as we can to make sure that we reopen as quickly as possible. Again, what we don't want to do is reopen and then be hit by this virus in a way that overwhelms our healthcare system. Right now, I think we're making good progress. Let's continue to make this good progress in keeping people safe. And then, when the time is right, we're going to reopen and we'll liberate every single Pennsylvanian.
In connection to the path to recovery, Pennsylvania is a part of a multi-state council that includes New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Delaware, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, in recognition that their states have one integrated regional economy. The council aims to restore the economy and get people back to work. The group is comprised of a health expert, an economic development expert, and the chief of staff from each state. Their goal is to work together to develop a regional plan or framework that will lift the regulations we're currently experiencing, such as the stay-at-home order, in a gradual manner while taking in consideration the risk of increasing the spread of the virus. Similar collaboration between the governors of California, Washington, and Oregon working together to reopen their economies. It is truly amazing, Thomas, how our nation are working together to fight this pandemic, not only as individual states, but collaborating with neighboring states to find the best solution for us to be safe and recovered economically. I will end my report on what Governor Wolf mentioned on his press release. We cured polio, we armed our nation for world wars, we mined, we built, we sacrificed. Let's be that example again. Let's stay home, stay safe, and then let's lead, let's build, and let's change the world around us. In Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Mila Simbulan, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Mila, how are people in the state reacting to the governor's plan?
It's actually a mixed reaction, Thomas. Some are disappointed because it lacked specifics and there's no timeline given for the reopening, but some are saying that it's a robust and thoughtful plan forward following science and hard data. We will see in the next couple of weeks as we hear from the government again about the specifics of the recovery plan.
And these things have got to be tough because we can't predict the future. Like you say, timelines, you can't put them down. You can draw the roadmap, but you can't put out the schedule.